So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 9 of the VRL F2 Championship. My name is Adam Burns and I'm back on commentary for this weekend here at Singapore at the Marina Bay, where the F2 Championship is really hotting up at the moment. Of course, our championship leader Kerem once again showing why he is the man in form at the moment after winning the Italian Grand Prix, looking very, very good at the moment with a hefty 40-point advantage over his nearest rival Wakanda Waring. And of course, as we approach the tail end, the business end of the season, the question remains, can Kerem continue his fine form and build up a gap which will almost become insurmountable? Of course, he cannot win the championship at this point in time, but certainly another good result or two will go a long way towards securing that. If you're wondering why this broadcast is out a little bit later than it normally would be, it's normally out live on the YouTube channel 6 PM on Saturday nights. We had a bit of a hiccup in terms of getting personnel in, but nonetheless we are with you now as we're about to get ready for qualifying. As you can see, we've got almost a full paddock, 18 runners at the moment, and plenty of high octane actions to go through the streets here at Singapore, the Marina Bay, a track been on the Formula 1 calendar since 2008 and has been one of the gems of the Formula 1 calendar since, and I'm pretty sure it will provide some more entertaining racing as we're about to get underway. As you can see, our driver's ready to go. It looks like a Ferrari on its way out into the garage to see who the first man will be, and it is MK17B, currently 4th in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, in the Ferrari, donning the famous Michael Schumacher crash helmet. Once again, great to see the famous Michael Schumacher helmet on a Ferrari. Doing very well at the moment, MK17B. One of the leading contenders in this championship, of course, a race winner at Silverstone. Twice on the podium, including that win, and a pole position at Zandvoort. Definitely doing a good job at the moment for Ferrari, hoping to try and see if he can continue on that fine form at the moment. Just looking on to the Constructors' Championship picture, Aston Martin currently leading the way with a 12-point advantage to the Racing Point team, and of course Renault keeping them close company in third. So Kerem, the main man at the moment, currently still sitting in the pit lane, will be hoping to try and see if he can continue his fine form and not only get the Drivers' Championship but also the Constructors' Championship as well. It's just me on commentary this weekend, I'm afraid. As I said, we are literally down to the bare bones of resources, so I'll have to put up with my commentary, and it's great to be back with VRL. Of course, it's been a while since I've been doing the commentary with VRL. Of course, I've had my own issues that I've had to deal with, but hopefully those will sort themselves out eventually, and I'll be back broadcasting and commentating on your YouTube screens very, very soon. As you can see, Inosha Tyres there getting very close to the barrier at turn 10 on the outlet. I'm not sure why he's pushing so hard on the outlet. Clearly wants to get the temperature into the tyres. Looking through the grid at the moment, only one driver on the medium tyres, that's Nick Pancras. Now there's a large delta between the soft and the medium tyres. If you can get through to Q3 on the medium tyres after a Q2 time, it will serve massively in this race. The medium to hard strategy would be a favourable one doing the one stopper, but that may not be an option. But these guys, I'm pretty sure, will try to stretch it out as much as they can. As I can see who's on a flying lap now is Leroy F1 setting a flying lap at the moment in the Red Bull. Leroy currently with the Constructors' Championship leaders at the moment. We'll be hoping to try and bring home some big points for them, but we'll see what he does now as we'll go on board with the Red Bull driver wearing the re-race as one helmet now, coming through into turn number 5, and now on the throttle now, opening up the DRS, goes through turn 6. It's almost a straight line, almost hard on the brakes into turn 7, definitely where you can ruin your lap early on. Looks like Leroy has not done that at the moment now. Coming into turn 8, hard on the brakes, down into second gear, now building up the power. Now you need to get a nice flowing rhythm around this circuit, opening up the exit on turn 9, and now coming to the infamous turn 10. Was once a chicane when it was originally introduced in 2008. That has changed since, of course, causing many casualties to many drivers' races in the past, and it's now just a simple left-hander, but still challenging nonetheless. Now Leroy picking up speed, hoping to try and see if he can get a decent middle sector time as we approach turn number 14. And it's quite wide on the exit there. You need to watch out for that barrier. You can carry a bit more speed, but you don't want to be too aggressive as Alex Bumberg gets out of the way. One of the leading championship contenders in the Mercedes, bringing out the yellow flag temporarily under the bridge section now. One of the best parts of this Singapore circuit, especially if you're a spectator viewing the action now, coming through the S's at the final part of the lap now, avoiding the wall on the outside, not too aggressive, but then throwing the car in there in 6th gear. It will stick if you're confident, and he does a 1:34.9. Good effort from Leroy at the moment, and he'll be hoping that time can be a difficult one to beat. As Wakanda wearing on the medium tyres as well, I see, so he's gone out on the medium tyres. The number 90 Renault driver doing a great job there, very nearly provisional pole position as Nick Pancras in the Alfa Romeo last season. I remember him donning many different cars, including the Racing Point, as Luca Nick in the other Red Bull goes fastest on a 1:34.0, because Luca Nick showing the pace at the moment. Great effort from him at this point in time. Luca Nick currently only one pole position to his name at Silverstone. We've only ever had 2 drivers this season with more than 1 pole position, so Luca Nick will be hoping to try and get himself further up the order, but that's a great effort from him early on. Let's see Yoda Speak, our Season 2 champion, currently running 5th fastest. A bit of damage there, clearly not happy with that opening run from him on the softer tyres, as Papine in the McLaren doing a 1:36.5. So only 6 confirmed times at the moment. Moving further down the order to see other drivers on the track. We're here with Kerem, the championship leader, who's just invalidated his time after setting a purple sector 1. Such a shame for him, but he'll be trying to go out and do another lap as Alex Bumberg still on an out lap. Other drivers at the moment were with Inertia tyres earlier on, almost had an incident there, but in the Haas driver, currently 11th at the moment, has not set a time. Middle sector, locking the brakes hard, going very wide, trying to avoid the barrier at turn 14. Now he's got to try and approach the technical section, throw the car in there. It's a very tricky area. You really want to try and carry as much speed as you can, and he's got a bit of damage there. Lost looks like an end plate on the right hand side, so really is pushing very hard, but that car clearly not responding to the speed that he's putting through at the moment. Is he going to complete his time as he comes through the final double apex on the lap? Comes across the line, he goes very wide on the exit. Did a purple final sector, but that time is not going to count. As you can see, went very wide on the final corner, so that lap will not count. And it's a shame for him, but I don't think he'd have been overly pleased with it anyway, as we're with Xavi Mateos in the Williams, looking to try and see if he can improve on his fortunes at the moment. Xavi Mateos, saying one of the drivers last season in the Red Bull, getting Red Bull's first podium last season, if memory serves me right, at the Italian Grand Prix, and we'll be hoping to continue with that form for the Williams team, currently sitting in 12th place in the championship, along with his teammate TRT Kimi, who looks like he's not going to be with us in this session at the moment, which is a shame. But now he comes through the final corner. What's his time going to be for Xavi Mateos? And he's 7th fastest. Another driver on the medium tyres, but as you can see, 1.2 seconds off the fastest medium time from Wakanda wearing. Won't be too pleased with that, but if he manages to qualify in the top 10, he'll be ecstatic with that. But with just over 10 minutes left to go in qualifying here at the Marina Bay Singapore, the circuit famous for Crashgate, with Nelson Piquet, that famous race where he deliberately sabotaged his race to bring out a safety car, which allowed teammate Fernando Alonso to go on and take the victory from a safety car. And of course, a few years ago, the horrible nightmare start for Ferrari with a front row Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen in 2017, both colliding in a sandwich with Max Verstappen, ruined all of their races, which eventually saw Lewis Hamilton go a long way to securing his fourth Drivers' World Championship. So just under 10 minutes to go in this session. It's a very difficult circuit here at the Marina Bay at Singapore. As I said, one of the gems in the Formula One Canada, a track that a lot of the drivers do enjoy, and it's a real test there. As you can see, SHR_Indigo having a hard time negotiating with the barriers. They're really pushing, but he needs to make sure the car stays out of the barrier. It looks like he hasn't had too much damage. Trying to see if he's got damage on that. Yeah, as you can see, the right end plate And that's going to be key in this race. These guys need to make sure that they keep the cars clean and tidy. They avoid any damage, any unnecessary pit stops or reduction of downforce, because downforce is paramount. Maximum downforce settings on this track, and of course they'll need to monitor the temperatures, manage the tyre wear. If they can do that with their setups today, they will go a long way to getting a good result today. It's a real challenge for the drivers, and certainly is one where you have to concentrate. You lose your focus for just a moment, just the finest of margins, and you can find yourself with a hefty repair bill in the barriers and wrecking your race. So only 10 drivers setting times at the moment, with Avi Racing at the moment, one of the newer drivers in this series. Avi Racing currently a long way down in the championship, but very, very quick indeed. Got pole position at the Belgian Grand Prix last time out, only managed to get second place, so we'll be hoping to improve on that in the black Mercedes car. Beautiful livery that it is. You can see Yuri in second place at the moment on an outlap. Good job for him so far in the AlphaTauri. Very nice Red Bull backed sandwich at the moment with the AlphaTauri filling. So Avi Racing, what can he do in the middle sector? He was purple in sector 1, he's purple in sector 2. This is looking a very good lap at the moment as we go on board with the Ukrainian driver coming through the final sector of the lap now to see what he can do in this final part of the lap, coming through the bridge section now. You don't want to carry too much speed, you'll end up in the wall, but it looks like he's got this car balanced very, very nicely, not trying to overdrive it, letting the rhythm and letting the car do the work as he goes to the outside to maximize the speed possible. Now throws into the final corner, carries so much speed and grip, comes across the line, and he is on pole position. Brilliant effort from Avi Racing in the Mercedes 133.8. That's going to take some beating. Purple in all 3 sectors. Very impressive stuff as Batboy comes across the line, third fastest in the Haas of 134.3. So the times are coming down. The track evolution on this circuit, like most street circuits, very, very intense. So we're going to see a lot of guys coming out late in the session, improving on their times. This could get very tasty in qualifying. And if you are new to VRL, don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. So you've got Vision League Racing on Instagram, VRL_PS4 on Twitter, and if you are new to the YouTube channel, it's VRL PS4, powered by IGK Esports. Bit of a mouthful there, but IGK Esports, one of our title sponsors, along with Hot Lap Mode and Checkered Flag. Make sure to check those guys out, providing some great content on social media. Give them a like and follow them as well. And of course, if you've not seen the website, where have you been? Check out the website, visionleagueracing.wixsite.com. Gives you updates and information on all your favorite drivers and F2 and F1 news, and some pretty decent merchandise as well. There's not much more you could want from that on a Saturday evening, I can guarantee you that, so make sure to check that out. As we're coming now to the last 6 minutes of the session, only 13 drivers setting a first and only time at the moment. Going to go to one of the other guys that has not set a time yet, and that's Kerem, currently on his second flying lap. He invalidated his first one quite early on. We'll see how he gets on. He needs to try and see if he can get to the front row at the moment. Avi Racing setting the benchmark with 133.8 as Kerem once again invalidates his lap time. Incredible from him that this one's not going to count either, and it was a 133.1 that he did. Definitely not going to count. Not sure if he'd broke the track limits by doing that, but it's such a shame for him as TRT James on the medium tyres, his second lap on the medium tyres, goes 5th fastest with a 134.8, so very impressive stuff from him. And now what are the other drivers going to do, the medium tyre runners? Are they going to try and go for another lap on the mediums, or are they going to give up the ghost and go for the softer tyres? One driver that isn't going to do that, SHR Indigo, going the other way. Clearly was not happy with his first soft tyre run. I don't blame him. Now he's going to have another go on the medium tyres. What can he do? As we'll keep an eye on his lap. So see the other Ferrari, SLR TH020. In the other Ferrari, I have to wait and see what he does, but let's go back to Kerem now, who's invalidated another lap. So Kerem once again, the third time, has invalidated another lap. Not sure if he was going to continue this lap anyway. Judging by the sector times, he's probably going to come into the pit lanes, but Kerem under huge pressure towards the end of this qualifying session. So hopefully for him, he can get out, put on another fresh set of boots and try and set a new faster time. So back to SLR underscore TH020. That is a mouthful and a half. In the Ferrari. Ferrari right now running 15th and 17th respectively. Definitely not where they want to be if they want to continue fighting in the championship. Currently 5th overall. Only 2 points behind McLaren. Level on points with Mercedes. So they're definitely in a battle between those two teams at the moment, and if Ferrari are going to get anywhere near the Constructors' Championship this season, they're going to have to get a move on. They do not want to be starting 15th or 17th place at the moment. It's now opening up the DRS now as we come to turn number 14. How's his middle sector looking at the moment? He's a bit off the pace, if I'm perfectly honest, on the medium tyres. We'll have to wait and see how this looks, and he's invalidated the lap, so once again another lap invalidated. Such a shame. We'll come to SHR Indigo, who's half a second up on his previous time on the medium tyres right now. And you see he's hit the wall once again, really struggling to push this car to its limit without hitting the walls. And now he's going to, looks like he's going to come into the pit lane. He does, so it looks like everyone else in the pits on an outlap for the final flurry here. There's going to be a lot of traffic, a huge Constantina effect. We'll have to wait and see how that impacts the race. And as you can see, it looks like we're going to be expecting all of the guys to come out in one big cluster. So Wakanda Waring looked like he was on a flyer, and he's abandoned that on the softer tyres. So this could be a huge moment in this race and the championship. Right now, the leading protagonist in this championship series not having the best of runs in qualifying. However, Wakanda Waring still 7th. If he can somehow qualify in the top 10 on the medium tyres, he'll be very happy indeed. As I said before, the one-stoppers will prefer to go the mediums. You can get there on the softs, but it's a huge stretch to manage your cars. Managing the tyre temperatures, a lot of 90-degree rear limited traction zones on this circuit, making it very difficult for the drivers to manage their tyres, manage the tyre temperatures, and also manage their race as well. It's going to be uber critical at this Grand Prix. It's a 5-kilometre circuit here. The streets, the lit up streets at the Marina Bay, the only race on the F1 calendar to have wet running in night conditions to date. A couple of years ago, back in 2017 that was, and as I said, back on the calendar since 2008. It's really been one of the gems of the F1 calendar. A lot of the drivers enjoy racing. It's a real challenge for a street circuit. Definitely has hallmarks of Monaco and other street circuits alike, but it's certainly unique in its layout. As with Leroy now on his final flying lap, let's go on board with the Red Bull driver. See now as he approaches turn number 5, really throws it in there with speed, and that's a really good exit. Now opening up the DRS, how will he fare coming into the first major braking zone of the lap? He's set a purple sector 1. You can already see the track evolution starting to take effect now. As you can see now, Leroy trying to negotiate the corners very well. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but hopefully that will not pay any serious impact as it comes out of turn 9. Now as you can see, Alex Bumberg in the Mercedes, formerly Jaffa Baboon, my favourite tag in online racing, but he's going his own name this season, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, but I'll let him off for now. Let's just see Leroy now opening up the throttle again. He was a bit shaky in that little section there, but he's okay for the moment. Let's see how his middle sector is going to be. He's 6 tenths up. This is a huge middle sector. The track evolution is mega at the moment. Leroy looking very quick. He set a purple first sector and a purple middle sector. If he can keep this car going, he could find himself on the front row of the grid alongside his teammate and Avi Racing. And this will be huge for the Red Bull team, not just in the drivers, but also the Constructors' Championship as well. This comes through the final few corners now. Didn't really throw the car out close to the wall, but he still carries some good speed now as it comes through the final corners. What's the time going to be? He's on the front row. He says a purple middle sector and a purple final sector, so a bit perplexed as to why that's only second, but nonetheless a great effort from Leroy. And now we'll see what the others are doing. His teammate, let's see what he can do. What can Luke and Nick do? He was faster in the first sector. He had improved. He's narrowly just behind his teammates, less than a tenth of a second, as Avi Racing has decided not to continue with the session. So he is on provisional pole, but will he stay there? He will not be able to respond to the drivers that, if any, can overtake him. As you can see, Luke and Nick 4 tenths of a second, less than half a second I should say actually, faster in the middle sector. He is absolutely flying, the Red Bull driver. This could be the pole position time. Avi Racing sitting in his pit garage watching on as Luke and Nick now coming through the final few corners in this technical section. What can he do? Can he keep it clean? He does indeed. He manages to carry speed now through the final few corners. Is this going to be provisional pole? Comes across the line and it is 1:33.4. Excellent time from him. Now we're going to head to Kerem, who's on the medium tyres, the championship leader, 2 times on pole position this season, has invalidated 4 times in the session. Looks like this one is going to be the clean one on the medium tyres. What is the time going to be for Kerem? He goes up into 4th place. What an effort from him, as to see a driver going off in the background. But Kerem, 4th fastest on the medium tyres. What a time from him. Excellent stuff. As Batboy is not going to be able to finish his lap. Wakanda Waring now, he will have to respond. He's on the softer tyres. He's almost a second up on his previous times. So this one is going to be close. Can he get onto the front row of the grid in the Renault driver? You feel he's going to have to as he comes across the line, and he does. Onto the front row goes Wakanda Waring, the Renault. A huge moment for him in this championship. He needed to get it done, especially with Kerem setting that mega time in on the medium tyres. And it looks like that's it for qualifying. So what a finale to qualifying. It looked like Avi Racing had it in the bag, but Wakanda Waring and Luke and Nick responding in kind. Brilliantly done from those guys. And just to round up qualifying, so Luke and Nick on pole position for Red Bull, Wakanda Waring joining on the front row, Avi Racing 3rd for Mercedes, Leroy the other Red Bull in 4th, and Kerem with that mega time on the medium tyres. He will be starting in 5th place, looking very handy indeed. Nick Pancras in the Alfa Romeo 6th, Batboy in Haas for 7th, Alpha Tauri Yuri in 8th, TRT James 9th for McLaren, the other medium driver, and Xavi Mateos completing the top 10 in Williams. Important to note, Alex Bumberg there not really managing to hook it up in 11th place. He may decide to go for the alternate strategy, but that is qualifying, and we'll join you momentarily for the race. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, about to get underway for the race here at the Marina Bay Circuit at Singapore. As mentioned before already, the race itself been on the Formula 1 calendar since 2008, and after a mega qualifying, there's so much to play for. If you missed qualifying, just to give you a quick recap, Luke and Nick on pole position for the Red Bull, once again pipping Wakanda Waring, who decided to abandon his medium tyre run to go onto the softer tyres in the end, join him on the front row. And it's definitely important for those guys to get a good race today if they're going to try and make some ground on the championship leader Kerem, who currently is 5th on the grid. However, the usual caveat applies. In this case, he went for the medium tyres in his final run, and boy did he absolutely nail that lap, which has put him in prime position in terms of strategy. A race where you normally see most guys go for the 2 stoppers. Spreader going away for the formation lap. As I was saying, the guys usually go for a 2-stop race here at Singapore. But definitely a difficult track to manage the tyres. High tyre wear here. A lot of rear limited traction zones. A lot of 90-degree corners. Definitely will be testing the drivers to see who can manage their tyre strategies the best. And as you can see, it's important for the guys to start the race on the tyres that they started on. Now, just to give you a brief understanding, guys, there was an issue with the lobby in the previous race that we did, so we had to redo the lobby following qualifying, and now the drivers put in their correct positions. Now, I'm hoping that the guys start the race on the correct choice of tyres. You can see the strategy provided by AWS, suggesting the 1-stopper, the alternate strategy, the medium to the hard. Looking at the field at the moment, I'm going to have to check this, but I believe Avi Racing may be on the wrong tyres. All the drivers were told very clearly they had to start the race on the tyres that they set their time in qualifying. Now, because of the lobby issues, we had to set a custom grid, which means that the top 10 have to be honest and set and basically start the race on the tyres that they did in qualifying. So of course none of the tyres have any wear on them at all. So they're all on fresh tyres, which is absolutely fine. However, they need to be the same compound that they set their fastest time in qualifying. I cannot remember, though it was just qualifying just now, but I believe Avi Racing may, and I really stress the may part, may have accidentally selected the wrong tyres. We'll have to wait and see, as Yoda speaks having internet trouble, but everyone outside the top 10 have a free choice of tyres. So for those in the previous lobby that selected the softs, have decided to go mediums. No surprise there, 11th to 17th on the mediums tyres. We've lost one of the runners in this race outside the top 10. I believe it is the Ferrari of MK17B, unfortunately, so he will not partake in this race, but it looks like the guys are going to get underway for this race now. So if you're new to VRL, thank you for joining us once again for this race's VRL F2. The F1 race not happening this weekend, that has been postponed so not to clash with the Formula 1 race, which is happening tomorrow at the Nürburgring. So it looks like we're about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Turn up the volume, leave the phone off the hook, leave the kids at grandma's, because we are about to get underway for VRL, and you are here for nothing else than high octane racing at the highest level. So let's get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Watch the lights, don't blink, you will miss it, as the 5 red lights will send these guys on their way to 31 laps of high octane stuff here at the Marina Bay in Singapore. Lights about to get underway now, and it's 5 lights. It is time to go racing, and it is a great start from Wakanda Wearing. He managed to get ahead of Luke and Nick, who got bogged down at the start, but it's a huge lunge from Avi Racing, who's gone into the back of Wakanda Wearing. He completely lost his braking and has gone straight into the back of the Renault driver, and it's a full course yellow, and it looks like a safety car as well. Is it? Just looking through, Leroy in the other Red Bull is in the lead. Luke and Nick got bogged down. Wasn't sure what happened to him. Not sure if he's got any damage on his car. But what a crazy corner there. Avi Racing in the Mercedes. Looked like he just punted Wakanda Wearing. And it looks like there might be an issue with the lobby here, guys. I'm going to have to wait and see what is going on. Just checking with the race directors, what is going on? Are we having more problems? Well, at the moment we're still going through. I haven't had any word from the race director that we are not continuing this race, so it looks like we are going to be okay, so ignore that. And just seeing some of the chat now. So Avi Racing, but I believe, if I'm reading this right, is saying in the chat that he selected the soft tyres, but for whatever reason the game gave him medium, so he will do 1 extra stop. So we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say about that, but nonetheless, certainly a man already in the headlines after going into the back of Wakanda Wearing, and that is an absolute nightmare for him. Seeing Kerem, the championship leader, down into 9th. We're back underway, I should say now. Green flag racing. It was only a virtual safety car for that first lap incident. We lost TRT James and Yoda Speak both out of the race. So we're down to 15 runners already. But after that chaotic first part of the race, it is Leroy who leads the way now. We're on to lap 2, followed by the Nick Pancras in the Alfa Romeo. The leaderboard going all over the place with Xavi Mateos in 3rd. This has completely thrown the order out of whack at the moment, as Avi Racing has a 5-second time penalty and is out of the race. Not sure, it looks like they're all coming into the pits for damage to repair. What a crazy start to this race. It's completely thrown chaos in the order. Gonna have to try and see if we can get a hold on the leaderboard or what's going on. It's now saying Kerem is in the lead, but I can assure you that Leroy is much further up the road than Kerem at the moment. So this leaderboard is throwing things to the wayside at the moment. It's absolute carnage. We'll have to wait and see what happens as this race progresses on, but I can assure you at the moment it is Leroy who leads the race at the moment from Nick Pancras. Hopefully the leaderboard will adjust itself as this race goes on, but he leads from Nick Pancras. SLR in the Ferrari currently running in 3rd place. Xavi Mateos is 4th in the Williams. Kerem, the championship leader, in 6th. He had to come into the pits with SHR Indigo, Enosha Tyres, Pepine, TRT Kimi and Alex Bloomberg. They're in 10th place. Ignore Luke and Nick saying Luke and Nick is leading the race. I can assure you Luke and Nick is not leading the race. As you see now, the leaderboard has finally adjusted itself Thank goodness for that. And now we're about to start lap 3. As you can see, it's Leroy in the Red Bull, but Nick Pancras chasing him very hard indeed in second place. DRS has now been enabled. It's just me on commentary. Adam Burns, the usual Vrl F2 commentator from last season, coming back for one weekend only to lead this broadcast for you all. So I hope you're all doing well on this Saturday evening. But now getting back to the action now, as Nick Pancras has DRS engaged. Is he going to be able to go for a lunge up the inside? Not this time. Leroy covers the inside very well indeed. So decides to live to fight another day. So no ties with the penalty for 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. These corners, the curbs do lend themselves to being driven over. They're not very rough on the guys, so it allows them to try and extend the limits as far as they can, and then some, which could become a problem for them later on in the race. Looking further down the order, this pack has been hugely split up by the confusion caused by the start and the virtual safety cars. Avi Racing retires from the race, an absolute nightmare for him in this opening stint for him, and that is his race over. We're down to 14 runners in this chaotic first couple laps. You can see the pack are so spread. It's crazy how this has happened, but it has created a race which allows the likes of Leroy, Nick Pancras, as you can see, 10 seconds ahead of the next cars behind him. Already we're starting to see these race could be won and lost between these two at the moment now. You can see SLR TH020, he could become a factor. The leading runner on the medium tyres managed to keep his nose clean, literally, and that has allowed him to put himself in a position where he only needs to stop once at this point in time, so he could become a factor later on. Back to the battle for the lead. As you can see, Nick Pancras looking much faster in his Alfa Romeo than Leroy at the moment. Have to wait and see. Is Nick Pancras going to make a move this time? DRS engaged once again. Leroy last lap went to the inside. Is he going to do the same thing this time? He leaves the inside open. Nick Pancras goes for the lunge up the inside into turn 7, but it looks like Leroy might try to do the same into turn 8. They give each other plenty of room. It's fair racing between the two, and Nick Pancras moves into the lead of the race in the Alfa Romeo. Can't imagine he thought he'd be in this position after such a short time, but nonetheless he is in the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix here at Vrl F2. What an incredibly crazy start to this Grand Prix, but there's still 27 laps more to come, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, SLR really doing a good job in the Ferrari. He is catching the leaders as the moment. And speaking of catching, Luke and Nick setting the fastest lap on the race of the medium tyres. Xavi Mateos running his own race at the moment. 7 seconds, I should say, down on the Ferrari, but then a further 8 seconds ahead of the championship leader Kerem, who in turn is another 11 seconds ahead of Alex Bumberg. How crazily done that this race has split these guys up. What a hectic start that was. As you can see, SHR Indigo has had an incident. He is out of the race. It's looking as a yellow flag at the end of turn number 10. Can't see where his car is. It's Wakanda wearing. Looks like he's had a position. You can see what has happened to SHR Indigo. His car's been removed. Must have had a crash at turn 10. So he is out of the race. Luke and Nick now up into 9th as Leroy, the first driver of the pit. He had a time penalty. Or no, sorry, excuse me. He didn't have a time penalty. He was having damage to his front wing being repaired. The first man into the pits. So that explains his pace deficit as Nick Pancras now out on his own in the lead of the race. 7 seconds the margin between him and SLR_TH020, who's going along very nicely in the Ferrari at the moment. It must be said, doing a fantastic job so far. Xavi Mateos 9 seconds back in the Williams, with Kerem a further 6 seconds back running his own race. And interestingly enough, now as you can see, it looks like Leroy's going to be 2 stopping in this race, whereas Kerem will be 1 stopping and is ahead of one of his main rivals. So Kerem at the moment, a huge opportunity for him to stretch his lead in the Drivers' Championship ahead of his main rivals if he can convert his current position, or perhaps go even better with the likes of Xavi Mateos and Nick Pancras likely to stop twice in this race. So plenty of talking points already Speaking of which, Nick Pancras getting a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings, so already the driver's struggling with track extensions. How long will Nick go into this opening stint, and what tyres will he put on? Will he go softs again, or will he go mediums, or will he try to stretch this out and go to the hards? Plenty of options for him in this race, and he has the time and he has the buffer to try and stretch these tyres out and perhaps go and convert this 2-stop strategy into a 1-stop. It's going to be a big order for him if he's going to win this race, but you almost feel that perhaps that is something he may need to consider as this race progresses on. Looking through the order now, we've got Alex Bumberg all over the back of Leroy at the moment, just a second separating those two guys, battling each other in this race as Indigo has left the session. Javi Mateos now into the pits, going to get those softer tyres off, so he decided already what tyres is he going to put on. It's going to be the mediums for him, so he will have to stop again. That promotes Leroy and Alex Bumberg up into 4th and 5th places respectively. TRT Kimi in the sister Williams driver, running a very quiet race at the moment. Is he going to overtake his teammate coming out of the pits? Yuri gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Looking further down the order now, you can see Luca Nick in the other Red Bull, one of the victims in that earlier crash earlier on between Avi Racing and Wakanda Waring, the pole sitter, having to pit earlier on the medium tyres at this point in time. We'll have to stop again, currently 14 seconds behind Anosha tyres in 8th place. It's amazing how this race has been completely thrown to the wayside now, as Wakanda Waring having to lick his wounds, very frustrated at the moment. Looks like the AI is controlling him at the moment, currently running 12. What a nightmare for him, and it's a golden opportunity for our championship leader Kerem, currently sitting in 3rd at the moment, looking very good, possibly going to be stopping once today. Can't rule him out for the win. If he keeps his pace up and does a good job, he is definitely one of the leading contenders, and what an opportunity it will be for him to lead the championship, increase his margin when all of his main rivals faltering to the wayside. As Nick Pancras finally comes into the pits, will he serve his time penalty in the pits? He's going to be going for the medium, so he is definitely 2-stopping, so he will serve his time penalty later on. He now glitches out of the pits. Where is he going to come in relation to Kerem? This is going to be a key moment in the race here, as Kerem comfortably is ahead of Nick Pancras, as Alex Bumberg really pushing hard to stay with Leroy, cannot keep up at the moment, and to add pain to his misery, receives a 3-second time penalty for track extension, as well as Nick Pancras, as you can see, just ahead of Leroy as he was when the pit stops were made. So clearly Leroy not able to make the most of that undercut. If anything, he's lost time to Nick Pancras after getting the damage, so he was not able to take into account that little bit of time he lost getting his front wing repaired. He was only able to get to where he was when the pit stops were made. So Nick Pancras looking in good shape at the moment, trying to see if he can hold on to this podium position, but Leroy's got his front wing repaired. He may have a good opportunity now with a fixed car to try and reclaim that podium back. The two Williams is having a bit of a ding-dong battle there. Javi Mateos has overtaken Kimi up into 6th position at the moment. Only 13 runners in this race. If you've missed the start, what a crazy start. As you can see there, huge incident there. Yuri crashing into the pit lane entrance, lost his front wing and has crashed into the pit lane entrance. It's not something you see every day, especially around here. Will this bring out a safety car? We'll have to wait and see. As SLR continues on in the Ferrari, we'll have to wait and see if the safety cars come out. But what a crazy race this has proven. We're down to 12 runners at the moment. We've already lost MK17 before the race started on the Ferrari. His teammate running very nicely in the lead of the race. Potentially, he could be able to convert this to a race win as Yuri leaves the session. It looks like no safety car is going to be necessary, which is a good thing. We already had the virtual safety car on the first lap following an incident between Avi Racing and also, speaking of which, Batboy has retired. Now, I'm not getting the notification of what is happening, but it looks like we've got, is it a safety car? It is a safety car that has come out. So this could be a huge factor in this race. Not sure what happened to Batboy there. Looked like he pulled into the pits and retired. But this is a huge moment for our leaders here, because a full safety car has been called out by the looks of it. And I'm judging this by the LED boards, as you can see, going through there, telling Kerem that it's a full safety car, as you can see in the top right corner, just past it now. So this is a huge moment in this race. SLR and Kerem have to pit to put on a new set of tyres. Those mediums, they probably would have wanted to take them a bit longer. They may be forced into putting on a set of harder tyres. Surely they'll have to make their stops on this lap to keep track position. What will the others do? Will they respond in time? This could be great for the race in terms of strategy, not only for the leaders, but also for the likes of Nick Pancras, Leroy, Xavi Mateos, to convert their strategies into one-stop strategies as well. You can see TRT Kimi came into the pits to put on hard tyres. What is SLR going to do? He is going to come into the pits, so he knows he needs to make his stop now to get rid of those medium tyres. He would have wanted to take them a bit longer, but he will have to put on the harder tyres now. As you can see, hard tyres going on the Ferrari. A huge opportunity for this man earlier on in qualifying. Not the best of showings from him, but has a golden opportunity after qualifying outside the top 10 to win this race. You can also see Kerem coming into the pit lane. He will surely be putting on the harder tyres. We'll have to wait and see as Nick Pancras on the right of us goes through, as does Leroy. They decide not to pit. So they look like they're going to stick to their two-stopper as Nick Pancras is back into the lead of the race. Now, very interesting choice of strategy from Nick Pancras and Leroy. They've decided to stay out. You can see Xavi Mateos goes the other way in the Williams. He's decided to go for the, to make his second stop now. He only pitted a few laps ago, but the key thing is, because his teammate is half a minute behind, he will definitely stay in 6th place. A great opportunity for Xavi Mateos to put himself in contention for perhaps a podium position here. We'll have to wait and see what Leroy and Nick Pancras do, but ladies and gentlemen, put in the comment section below, have they made the wrong choice on strategy? Perhaps they could have made their second stop now and go hard to the end and have a straight fight. They'd be a bit out of position, but I tell you what, they probably, at the very, very least, would have been running in 4th and 5th position. And they will have to make one more stop. I'm pretty certain they're not going to be able to take those mediums to the end, even with the safety car providing them a few laps to cool their tyres down and manage that tyre wear. But if you just joined us in this race, we've got 11 runners here. We're on lap 9 of 31 here, the Vrl F2 race here at Singapore, the Marina Bay Street Circuit, one of the gems on the Formula 1 calendar. What a crazy race it has been so far. We had a first lap incident with Avi Racing going into the back of Wakanda Waring, completely ruining his race, and Luca Nix as well. And as a result, that put them out of contention early on. Wakanda Waring since has retired. It's the AI controlling him at the moment in 9th place. It's a shame he's not driving now, because if he was still in this race, I'm sure he'd be able to take advantage of this, but it's the AI controlling for him, I'm pretty certain. As you can see there on board, the cross there indicating that AI is controlling and ghosting Wakanda Waring. Unfortunately for Luke and Nick, he is going to have to follow the AI car rather than close up to the back of the field, as he's now just overtaken him. And now it looks like he's going to get a penalty here. This is the problem. He's had to go into reverse to allow Wakanda Waring back through, because the AI is not going to re-overtake you unless you reverse through them. So nightmare for Luke and Nick, the pole sitter, having to recover his race. Has gone onto the medium tyres. He's going to have to do well to finish the race on mediums. May regret that choice later on, but everyone except for Papine in a point scoring position. But back to the lead of the race. After the first lap incident, we had a virtual safety car, but it completely spread the field out, which allowed Nick Pancras and Leroy to get away, making their first stops to try and make the two-stopper work, which allowed SLR and Kerem into the lead. Kerem, the championship leader, currently running 4th, but then the safety car out. Retirements from Batboy and Yuri towards the end of the lap forced the safety car out, as we get a safety car every single time we come to the Marina Bay Circuit in Singapore. We've got another one here today, and once again the safety car playing a huge factor in terms of strategy. That allowed the likes of SLR, Kerem, Alex Bumberg to make their one stops. It also allowed Xavi Mateos a free pit stop as well in the Williams. So those guys are definitely going to the end, along with Anosha Tyres and Papine. The remaining medium tyre runners, Wakanda Waring, Luca Nick, Leroy, and the race leader Nick Pancras, may live to regret not taking advantage of this safety car. But with the best part of 20 or so laps to go and then some, we could be in for an exciting second stint in this race. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to VRL, make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel. It's VRL PS4 powered by IGK Esports, our main title sponsors, along with Hot Lap Mode and Checkered Flag. Make sure to check those guys out as well. On our social media handles, on Twitter, VRL_PS4, Vision League Racing for Instagram. Make sure to follow those for all the latest updates from not only the VRL F2 League, but also the VRL F1 Championship, which is taking a week off and will be back on your screens next week. In the meantime, the guys warming up now. Nick Pancras warming up his medium tyres, needs to get the temperature in these tyres, as does the harder tyre runners. It will not be easy, the tyres will be a bit cool, as the safety car is in on this lap now as it's coming for the final part. Nick Pancras will have the advantage of having the softer rubber, but will they be able to make that last now as it comes through the final corner? He's had to slow right down not to overtake the safety car. I'll tell you what, the stewards are not going to be happy about this. That is not good driving from Nick Pancras, and that has forced an absolute calamity going into turn one. Now, the rules normally say you're not allowed to do what Nick Pancras just did in terms of holding up the field, but that's created all sorts of chaos. Kerem, overtaking everyone, has had to let drivers through, and that's allowed Alex Bumberg to get back ahead of him into 4th place. As we're back under racing, it's green flag racing now. No other overtakes. Papine has overtaken Wakanda Racing, as is Luke and Nick. It's all going off at the front here for the battle for the lead, as Leroy chose to go around the inside of SLR, but he can't make that move stick. And now SLR trying to hold off Leroy, but Leroy's going to get the inside going into turn 9 as SLR tries to use the momentum to stay ahead. As Leroy has the medium tyres, he has the softer rubber. Can he make advantage of that? As SLR goes very wide into turn 10, trying not to go into the barrier as Leroy makes the move into 2nd place. Alex Bumberg up into 4th place, taking advantage of that chaos that Nick Pancras caused by slowing everyone down at the last moment. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that because it's very dangerous driving from him, and that caused Kerem to drop down into 5th position at this point in time. As we've had another retirement, it's Luke and Nick, and Papine has also retired from the session. Big incident going on there, not sure what happened to those two. A big crash from Papine in the wall, and Luke and Nick as well. So it's caused another safety car. We are now down to 9, I repeat, 9 runners in this race. It is incredible stuff in this race. I'd be surprised if we end up having finishing drivers, but another opportunity for the medium runners to pit. Nick Pancras once again refusing to pit. Granted, he might be giving up track position, but clearly not taking advantage. Leroy decides to pit. Wakanda, wearing the AI controlling him, decides to pit as well, but we've got another safety car after that incident. What a ridiculous race that we are seeing at the moment. And well, ladies and gentlemen, I must say this is one of the strangest races that I've been involved in, and we've still got the best part of under 20 laps to go in it. We've still only got 9 runners left. Wakanda wearing going onto the softer tyres there. Used set of soft tyres. The AI controlling his car at the moment, so I'm not sure what they're thinking. Leroy on the hard compound tyres. And this is going to throw up all kind of strange scenarios in this race. But it looks like everybody, with the exception of Nick Pancras and Wakanda wearing, are on the harder tyres going to the end of the race. Not sure if Nick Pancras will live to regret that, but we'll have to wait and see. So much can still happen in this race. Perhaps to get a big point haul in this race, you're just going to have to finish, because right now only 9 runners remain. And of those runners, Luke and Nick will not score a point, as Papine travelled further than he did before having that crash himself. So he's going to end up finishing in the top 10 as a result of that. And that's going to create all sorts of chaos in the championship. But it's a great opportunity for Kerem, as mentioned before, to stretch his lead, with Wakanda wearing, MK17B, Monster, Luke and Nick not scoring as at the moment. Wakanda wearing will definitely score, even though he's not controlling his car, so he will still get some points. Whether it's 8th or 9th place, most likely will be 9th at this point in time until we have further retirement. So who knows, the AI car may just ghost himself to a podium here if there's more chaos and collisions in this race. We'd love to give a good technical analysis with a co-commentator. Unfortunately, we do not have one. down to the bare bones in terms of commentary at the moment, but I hope you're enjoying the coverage so far. It's a bit of a crazy race, but I'm sure we'll get back to normal circumstances very, very soon. So apologies on that part. Make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe to the channel if you are new to the VRL family, and if you are so, welcome aboard and thank you for joining us here. Very much appreciated, and all of your support is very much greatly appreciated by everyone here at the VRL community. Whilst we're going through the safety car periods, obviously a good opportunity to say a very, very happy birthday to Murray Walker, the voice of Formula 1, turned 97 today. Wow, imagine living that long, what things that he must have seen. But Murray Walker doing very well. Happy birthday to you, sir, the voice of Formula 1 racing of all time. That can certainly be agreed amongst the F1 community, so happy birthday to you, sir. So see now, perhaps the safety car will come in on this lap. We're down to 9 runners. Onosha Tyres is just coming to the pits, but on a set of medium tyres. Leroy running in 8th place in the Red Bull. What an absolutely crazy start if you've just joined us. We are down to 9 runners after only 13 laps. So many incidents going on at the start of the race, especially the one between Avi Racing going into the back of Wakanda Waring, which ruined his race. However, as you can see, Wakanda Waring controlled by the AI at the moment as he left the session, but he may still get some big points. He will definitely score points in this race, that's for sure. How many? That remains to be seen, but right now, Kerem with a 40-point advantage over Wakanda Waring going into this race has a great opportunity to increase that advantage. And as it stands, it looks like Alex Bumberg is going to move into 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship for Mercedes, and obviously a great opportunity for the Racing Point team to try and move ahead in the championship, with Renault looking like they're going to have to rely on the AI to bring home more points for them. As the safety car coming on this lap. Now, as remember before, guys, Nick Pancras very, very late in braking, bunching up the field and causing all sorts of chaos. The stewards, I'm sure, will be looking at that incident, because that was definitely not the right conduct of the race leader. Will he do that again, or will he remember his etiquette this time? It remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see what he does. But he's going to have to time this restart very, very well. I'm pretty sure the stewards will not appreciate him doing that again. It's okay to bunch the field up as you are now, but if you go, you have to commit to it. You can't just go and then stop and then go then stop. That is how accidents are caused. It's very unsafe, and it almost caused a big accident the last time round. Let's see what Nick Pancras does now as he gets on the throttle this time. He's going to go for the final corner. No such troubles with the blocking this time for Nick Pancras. It's a clean getaway, and he leads the field after lap 14 now, with SLR hot in pursuit behind him in the Ferrari, the leader of the harder tyre runners, with Alex Bumberg, Kerem, Javi Mateos, TRT, Kimi close behind him, as Leroy going round the outside of Wakanda Waring, or they can just drive straight through the Ghost car. The Ghost car definitely not giving it up. As you can see there now, no DRS until we've done a few laps, but Alex Bumberg's got a great run coming out of turn number 5, but he won't be able to make the overtake on this occasion. As you can see, Wakanda Waring battling hard with Onosha Tyres. TRT Kimi with a 3-second penalty, as Onosha Tyres now trying to battle away with Wakanda Waring, as Leroy trying to make up some ground, was leading the race earlier on, finding way as he goes into the wall, and that's a bit of damage there on his car, I believe. He's lost the end plate and he's completely crashed into the wall. Well, I think there was a bit naughty there between TRT Kimi. Looked like he went into him a little bit, and that has caused another yellow flag. Is it a safety car, or is it a virtual safety car? I'm worried it could be another safety car. It's a virtual safety car, thankfully. Absolute mayhem in this race. As a commentator, for the short time that I've done it, I can't say I've seen many races like this one. We are now down to 8 runners as Leroy decides to retire from the race. And I'm a bit surprised by that from Leroy. Of course, yes, very disappointed. Not sure what Kimi was doing, if he lost control of his Williams going into him like that to cause him to go into the wall. But you really don't want to be doing that. You want to try and stick in this race, because so much can happen, even if he has to make another stop. As Papine has left the session, already out of the running, we'll finish in 10th place. But we're now down to 8 runners. How many are going to finish? We're not even half distance yet, and we're already down to 8 cars. Literally, you could get a podium in this race, by the way this is going, just by finishing the race. As now the virtual safety car, we go green as Nick Pancras gets underway once again for the 4th time in this race. We are about to get underway for green flag racing once again now, as the leaders all coming through. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 leading the way through, followed by Xavi Mateos. Looks like these 5 could be the ones fighting for the race win, as the no-show tyres all over the back of Kimi. There's 7 runners and 1 AI, as you can see. Wakanda wearing at the back of the field, the AI controlling his Renault at the moment, getting some nice points for him that I'm pretty sure he'll be very, very happy with at the end of this race, despite the nightmare start that he had to this race. Had his hopes set on winning, completely dashed through at the opening incident after a clash with Avi Racing in the Mercedes. So Nick Pancras has already had 2 opportunities to try and take advantage of safety cars to get himself a free pit stop, but because of the virtual safety car and the safety car periods, he may be able to go to the end on these medium tyres. He's going to have to take them a long way. Of course, he's only really been on them for just a few laps at full racing speed, so he may feel he can try and stretch this strategy to the end. Perhaps it's the only thing he can do at this point in order to try and hold on to that race win, but it's going to be a real battle as the no-show tyres gets another penalty, following close behind TRT Kimi at the moment. As you can see, these 2 battling for 6th and 7th. Kimi starting to fall away from the chasing pack now, as DRS has been enabled again, so it's going to make the racing very interesting now. As I see Nick Pancras, lap 16, so we are now officially into the second half of this race. Crazy scenes at the moment, with only 8 runners left in the Grand Prix, with of course 7 of those controlled without the assistance of AI, with Wakanda wearing controlled by the AI now. But you see, SLR is a bit far back behind Nick Pancras. He will have DRS though. I see Alex Bumberg there, currently running in 3rd position, doing a good job in the Mercedes, taking advantage of the chaos and the strategies to put himself into a position where he could fancy himself today to win this race. Can Alex Bumberg get the race win and put himself back in contention for the Drivers' Championship? At the moment, it's all one-way traffic, with Kerem leading the way by 40 points. May find himself with Alex Bumberg for company in terms of the battle, but will increase his lead as it stands at the moment, with a nice 12 points coming his way over Wakanda Waring, who have to settle for 8th at the very least at the moment. So of course, let us know what you think of this race so far. Absolute crazy stuff, and let us know who you think is going to survive more than anything else, let alone win this race, as we're approaching the final furlongs of this Singapore Grand Prix. We're in the second half now. Hopefully we won't have many more safety car incidents, and we can just get down to these guys doing what they do best, and that's racing hard and fast through the streets at the Marina Bay and Singapore. There's SLR almost losing it coming out of the final part there. It looks like the top 4 separated by 2 seconds, with Kerem just biding his time at the back, as Xavi Mateos also keeping them for company. But at this point in time, just hanging back there from the leaders, and I'm sure will make his move very, very soon. We'll have to keep an eye on that racing point. Now it's getting very tight. They're all running on board once again with SLR in the Ferrari. Alex Bumberg keeping him for company. Can he get to Nick Pancras? He's a bit far behind. Can Alex Bumberg try to go for a bit of a lunge into turn number 7? Not this time, as SLR ahead of him locks his brakes. You can see Alex Bumberg really following close to the Ferrari. He's definitely looking much more confident at this stage of the race. If he can get past the Ferrari, that could be the move for the lead of the race. It's very important right now that these guys make sure to bed themselves in. They've been taken out of their rhythm a lot in this race, and hopefully for them they'll have the opportunity to try and see if they can convert this performance into a race win. But who is it going to be? Is it going to be Nick Pancras? Is it going to be SLR in the Ferrari? Is it going to be this man, Alex Bumberg? Is it going to be Kerem, the championship leader? Or perhaps Xavi Mateos, or maybe even a no-show tyres hanging at the back there, running very nicely. Might be able to go to the end on the medium tyres, but running in 6th place at this point in time, with Kimi further down in 7th and Wakanda wearing the AI driving a race of its own, a further 10 seconds back from Kimi. As Alex Bumberg gets a time penalty for corner cutting, as Kimi has overtaken no-show tyres. So no-show tyres has had a bit of an incident there at turn number 14. Not sure what happened to him there, but he's fallen down to 7th place. That's not going to help his race. Surely the battle will be between him and Kimi for 6th and 7th position now as we come to lap 18. Nick Pancras still leading the way, but under immense pressure from those 4 behind him all on that road. You've got SLR, Alex Bumberg, Kerem and Xavi Mateos all keeping the race leader company. And as you can see now, those medium tyres look like they're starting to struggle on the race leader, who surely will need to pit to take those off very, very soon now. As you can see, SLR going up the inside, he's going to have DRS and he's going to overtake Nick Pancras for the lead. Is Alex Bumberg going to go for a dive up the inside? Not this time, but SLR into the lead, easily done, and didn't even have to break that late into the corner. He got the move done on the straight, so SLR leads the race in the Ferrari. A golden opportunity for the Ferrari driver to get his first win with VRL. We'll have to wait and see if he's able to convert that towards in this race, and it's a huge moment now, because if he can try and pull away from the chase back behind him and build a bit of a gap, that may serve him very well towards the end of this race now. But Nick Pancras now has Alex Bumberg and Kerem to deal with, as Xavi Mateo starting to fall away from this lead group in the Williams in the background there. As another safety car, I believe it is. Yeah, it's for Enosha Tyres. So Enosha Tyres has retired. Not sure what has happened. He's just completely left the session. And it's a full safety car. Once again, I believe the third safety car in this race. Unbelievable. We're now down to 7 runners. And quite often, guys, this is caused by drivers leaving the session whilst they're still running, and Nick Pancras now is finally going to take those tyres off, as is Alex Bumberg, as is Kerem. This could be a huge moment in this race. Xavi Mateos changes his mind at the last minute to go around the bollard. I'm not sure if the stewards will be looking at that. SLR continuing onwards. This could prove to be a huge moment in this race, because SLR, after doing a great job to get into the lead of the race, now is going to have to face the conundrum of having to face the guys behind him on a set of medium tyres, and pretty much that is the perfect thing that could have happened for Nick Pancras. It's allowed him a free pit stop to put on those medium tyres. However, he got bogged down in the pits behind Alex Bumberg and Kerem. They weren't able to release him, but I'm pretty sure he'll be very happy being on a fresh set of medium tyres, only in 4th, which could possibly become 3rd. Of course, SLR probably won't need to pit. He won't need to pit. He can go to the end on those harder tyres. That was always the plan, but the problem for him now, he's going to have to go to the end of the race with a choice. Will he pit whilst he's still got a bit of time? He's going to lose time as the safety car has picked up the leader. As you can see, Alex Bumberg there, the leader of the chasing pack, very quickly eating away at that margin. And the reality is going to become very painful for SLR, because not only is he going to have to defend the lead, but he's going to have to face his rivals, who are on a softer compound of tyre and also a fresher set, 9 laps fresher for that matter, as SLR is now disconnected from the session. So even worse for him, absolute nightmare. Is this race going to throw up even more of a curveball? As you can see there, Alex Bumberg must be licking his lips at this opportunity, because the AI now has taken control as SLR. Can he rejoin the session and take control? But right now, it's very much advantage Alex Bumberg. I want to say Jaffa Baboon. For those of you VRL veterans out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. His former tag name for Alex. Decided to change it, which is disappointing for me personally. Absolutely loved that tag name, but he's had to change it to his own name. But what an opportunity this could be for him, the young Mercedes driver. And as you can see, SLR coming into the pits, the AI making the decision to put him into the pits a lap after the others have come to the pits, and that promotes Alex Bumberg into the lead. Kerem now up into 2nd place. The championship leader hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's kept it clean, he's bided his time, and now finds himself in a position where he could get another race win this season. And how huge would that be for his championship challenge to get a 3rd win of the season, after winning the Italian Grand Prix and the Vietnamese Grand Prix at the start of the season. An opportunity to become the first man to take 3 race victories. Of course, Alex Bumberg winning the Austrian Grand Prix, looking to win his 2nd race of the season. And if Alex is going to get himself in the championship fight for real, he is going to have to make sure he keeps Kerem behind him, as Enosha Tyres leaves the session. Down to 7 runners now, as SLR still being controlled by the AI. So the AI between Wakanda Waring and SLR are going to have a battle for 6th and 7th place. But despite Wakanda Waring having issues earlier on in the race, he's now up into 6th position on a fresh set of medium tyres. Of course, the AI won't have the pace of the guys ahead of him, But who knows what this race could throw, and what an opportunity for the Williams team to pick up some huge points in the Constructors' Championship. Currently P7 out of everyone, but battling McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes, with both of their guys running 4th and 5th. It's going to be a huge haul of points for them. Great opportunity for them to move ahead of Ferrari and Renault in the Constructors' Championship. So what a crazy race this has been, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise for the number of incidents that we've had and the safety cars we've had. It's really not the most exciting of races in terms of on-track action, but we're now about to get underway once again. An 11-lap dash for all these guys. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be this man here, Alex Bumberg in the Mercedes? He's about to come into shot now. You can see they're bunching the pack up. Will it be Kerem behind him? Nick Pancras given a lifeline in 3rd position. Will the 2 Williams have a factor to say? Or perhaps one of the AI control cars in Wakanda wearing an SLR in the Ferrari behind him. As we're about to get underway, 11 laps left to go. You can see Kerem getting very racy behind Alex. He's like, get a move on. I'm all over the back of you here. I want this race win. And now I'm going to fight you for it. It's getting very, very tasty between these guys. Hopefully the last 11 laps will provide us with plenty of on-track action to make up for the absolute cluster mess that the last 20 have brought us now, as Alex gets onto the loud pedal, gets underway. SLR's rejoined the session, so it looks like he'll be able to take control of his car. Unfortunately, he'll find himself at the back of the field on, well, looks like he, according to this, he hasn't changed his tyres. We'll have to check if that is the case. But Alex Bumberg back underway with Kerem, Nick Pancras, the 2 Williamses, and of course the 2 AI cars behind him at the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on SLR if he's able to take control of his car again. But Alex Bumberg now leading the way through as we go into turn number 7. He's going to have to try and build up a bit of a gap if he's going to be able to keep Kerem behind him. But what an opportunity for Kerem. A huge opportunity to get some major championship points to help his championship campaign. As I said before, he cannot win the race, win the championship, I should say, today, but he can certainly go a long way as the leaderboard is starting to cause all kind of malfunctions today. It's been an absolute mess in terms of the on-track action and the leaderboard coverage. I can only apologise for those. Completely out of our control. Hopefully Cody's will be able to get on top of that sooner rather than later. But as you can see, we don't need the timing screens to tell us how close everyone is. You can see it all on your screens at the moment as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all within a very short proximity of each other. Any one of these guys could win the race. Who is it going to be? As Alex Bumberg leads the way, how is his bottle? How are the nerves? Can he convert this golden opportunity that he's been given, presented and earned in fairness? Can he convert that into a race win? As we're about to approach the final furlongs of this race, 10 laps to go in what has seemed to be an absolute marathon of a race here, with Alex Bumberg leading the way, followed by Kerem, Nick Pancras, the 2 Williamses, Wakanda wearing, and SLR has retired out of the session. It looks like he took control of his car, must have crashed in the final corner. Now we're down to 6 runners. Doesn't look like we've got a safety car. We'll have to wait and see. Track is still green at the moment, so we'll have to continue on anyway and ignore that. What a shame for him. It's just absolute chaos at the moment. How many guys are going to finish? We'll have to wait and see. But we're down to 6 runners on the track. I don't think I can remember the last time I've seen 6 guys finish a Formula 1 race. You'd have to date back to the 2006 or 2005 US Grand Prix, I should say, when we only had 6 guys start the race, let alone finish it. After the chaos with the tyre calamity between Bridgestone and Michelin tyres. Michelin tyres not being able to run and take the loads on the track surface at Indianapolis Circuit, of course, since the Circuit of Americas has provided much success in Formula 1 since then, to increase the popularity of the sport within the American fan base, which is always a good thing. But nonetheless, we are back here for the final stages of the Singapore Grand Prix for VRL F2, as Alex Bumberg lead of the way, VRL F1 commentator, certainly as good a driver as he is a commentator as well, doing a fine job at the moment in Mercedes, and this could be huge in the championship. It's not a huge margin between him and Kerem, definitely not an insurmountable one, but if he's going to be in this championship challenge, he's definitely doing everything he can to make sure he gets on top, as Kerem sets the fastest lap, which is still worth a bonus point, I believe, if he can keep that. Not sure who's going to get the award for fastest lap outside the top 10. That'll have to be looked at by the stewards after the race. But Kerem looks like he's about to make a move in the Racing Point. Right behind Alex Bumberg, he will have DRS. As you can see, SLR leaving the session now, but Kerem closing very, very quickly behind Alex Bumberg. Goes to the outside. Is he going to be late on the brakes? And that's a beautiful move round the outside by Kerem. What a great move. Hasn't done too much in terms of overtakes today. Hasn't had to. But boy, what a great move from Kerem there. Excellently done round the outside of turn 7. All the confidence in the world. And Alex Bumberg tried his best to fight him off. But clearly, Kerem had that one up his sleeve for a while and has retaken the lead of the race. And this is a huge moment in this championship. Kerem has a great opportunity to extend his lead over the likes of Alex Bumberg and Wakanda Racing with a win today. Can he bring it home? Can Alex Bumberg respond, or can Nick Pancras get up to him? It looks like the Williamses behind him, Xavi Mateos and Kimi, going to have to settle for 4th and 5th as it stands, because they are starting to fall away from this lead group, who clearly have a lot more pace. But the front three at the moment, line is stirred, with Kerem leading the way, Alex Bumberg in 2nd, Nick Pancras in 3rd place. And hopefully these three can give us some more great action like we just saw for the final stages of this race. As you can see, if you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, guys, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channels VRL PS4, powered by IGK Esports, our title sponsors, along with Hot Lap Mode and Checkered Flag Racing. Give those guys a follow as well. Do a great job for us with VRL leagues, including VRL F1, which will be back on your screens next week on Sunday for the F1 version of this race, I believe, if memory serves me right, where of course we will be taking a few weeks off of F2 and going to Japan at the beginning of November. Or actually might be a bit earlier than that, but nonetheless, do check out the VRL pages on Instagram and Twitter for all the latest information regarding the upcoming races for the remainder of the season, which will take us up to the winter break. See further down the order, Wakanda wearing still the AI controlling his car. He doesn't know it, but he's currently running in 6th place and will get 8 championship points as it stands for the course. So won't be complaining too much, but he will feel hard done by the way this race has transpired for him. But that's how it goes sometimes. You've got to be in it to win it, and it's definitely been very much more about surviving than winning at the moment. Just a quick opportunity to check the penalties while we're at it, as it's just me. As you can see, Kerem has 1 time penalty with him. Alex Bumberg has 1 penalty. Nick Pancras also has 1 penalty. So these 3 all equal in terms of penalties and performance at the moment, as Kerem stretching the lead out. Only a few temps though. Alex Bumberg will have DRS, as you can see there, down the back straight to keep him close behind. So this race could get very tasty. Will tyre wear become a factor? Perhaps not. All being on the same sort of tyre and behind the safety car, it should be okay to go flat out to the end. But it looks like Alex Bumberg sticking tight with Kerem at the moment, on board with a Mercedes driver, still within that 1 second DRS zone that you need to stay in order to get that. Nick Pancras has fallen away a little bit from the front too. So is Nick Pancras struggling to live with the leaders at the moment? Kerem doing his absolute best to try and get away, but DRS is really playing havoc. Alex Bumberg doing a fantastic job of keeping with the leader. Could these two lock horns once again before the final moments of this race? Who is it going to be, guys? Is it going to be Kerem? Is it going to be Alex Bumberg? Could Nick Pancras surge a late charge to try and get the win? Perhaps one of the Williamses, who at the moment minding their own business in 4th and 5th respectively. Or could AI, the ghost car Wakanda wearing, do the unthinkable and win? I can't remember if I've ever seen a ghost car win an online race, but that may happen today. Definitely seen stranger things in this race. It's Kerem now trying to break away. He can't seem to break away from the Mercedes, just as Alex struggled to break away from Kerem earlier on before Kerem got the move done for the lead. Now Kerem pushing really hard. All of these 3 have a time penalty, a 3-second time penalty for that, and they will be in track position. This is all for track position for the win now. Kerem and Alex matching each other. Nothing to separate them on that last outing, and Kerem doing his absolute best to try and break that 1 second gap between him and Alex in order to try and avoid the DRS. He hasn't done it yet, but if he keeps going as he is, he may just do it. That could be the key factor in this race, as Alex will get DRS once again down the long straight to turn 5, and of course 6 here, but that's not really a turn really, and into turn 7. If Alex loses that DRS, you almost feel that his chances of winning could be going up in smoke, but as long as he stays within the DRS, he's got a fighting chance of getting past Kerem. Kerem doing a good job at the moment, managing to keep Alex at bay, not able to try and get back at him after that amazing overtake that he did a few laps ago for the lead. As Nick Pancras now starting to struggle to stay with the leaders. He's fallen out of DRS. He could have to settle for a lonely third place unless something happens between the two leaders up front. A beautiful camera shots from the F1 helicopter following these guys around the streets here at the Marina Bay at Singapore. Definitely one of the circuits to put on your bucket list to visit when obviously the world returns to normal following the COVID pandemic. Is on board now with a Mercedes driver, Alex Bumberg, just briefly as he's fighting the car hard, trying to push to get towards Kerem. He's literally a race win right there within his grasp. He's got to make sure he nails every apex, every braking point to try and see if he can get past Kerem. Seed almost losing the rear end of the car there, trying not to go into the wall, pushing very, very hard in the turbulent air. As you can see, the last couple of laps, these two have literally had nothing more than attempt to separate them in terms of performance over that lap. That is on some brilliant consistency between these guys now. The final 5 laps of this race, it looks like it's going to be between these two, Kerem and Alex Bumberg. Will the championship come down between these two as Kerem gets a second time penalty? And if my maths is right, Alex Bumberg, well, I'm sure if he's made aware of this, but if he stays within 3 seconds of Kerem and manages to avoid getting another penalty himself, he will win this race. As it stands, just looking at the time penalties to confirm, as you can see here, Kerem with 2 time penalties, Alex Bumberg just the 1 at the moment. So that could be a huge moment in this race. Has Kerem made a costly mistake in this race? Alex Bumberg now getting ever so close. It looks like Kerem's getting very loose at the moment, clearly frustrated by that penalty, trying to overdrive the car. This could cost him big time. He's still got a huge lead in the championship, and he will increase it no matter what happens. If Alex does win this race with him second place, the championship lead will still be 40 points. As Alex Bumberg gets a time penalty, so that has changed it again. Alex getting a time penalty, and that now moves Kerem back into the lead. So we are back racing for position, guys, between these two. What a crazy way to finish this race. It could be decided by penalties. Nick Pancras could become a factor in this race, because right now he is within 3 seconds of both of these guys, literally teetering. So if Nick manages to keep it clean and stays within 3 seconds of Kerem, he will win this race. As you can see, the gap between Kerem and Nick Pancras now 3.2 seconds, and it's changing all the time. Can Nick get within 3 seconds? Speaking of get within Kerem, Alex now half a second behind. This is as close as he's been to Kerem down this straight for a while, but still not close enough this time round. See Nick struggling to hold on to the leaders now. The gap is changing all the time. He is literally teetering over that 3 second gap. Can he keep it within 3 seconds? If he can, he'll win the race. If he can't, he might have to settle for second. And Alex needs to get a move on as well, because right now Alex will not only not win this race, but he will not finish in second place as well. So Kerem, it is within Kerem's interest to try and manage this gap. If he can keep it between more than 3 seconds between himself and Nick, and keep Alex behind him, he will relegate his new main rival in this championship. And well, wouldn't that be a turn up for the books? Looking further down the order, Xavi Mateos, not much to speak of in this race, running a lonely 4th place, doing a good job on his own. Looks like he'll be very happy to take that, as is TRT Kimi in 5th. Wakanda wearing the AI, doing a solid job today in the top 6. And we'll pick up some big points for Wakanda wearing, even though he's not aware of it. But we'll still lose huge ground to Kerem in the championship now, as we're about to approach the final few laps of this race. 3 laps to go. Kerem leading the way, 6 tenths ahead of Alex Bumberg, who is 2.5 seconds ahead of Nick Pancras. But as you can see, both Kerem and Alex have an extra time penalty each, which means, as it stands, Nick Pancras could, and I stress could, win this race still. And as you can see, I'm going to change the leaderboard there to see the gap to the race leader. As you can see, Alex a few tenths behind Kerem, as close as he's ever been to him at the moment, trying to battle for the lead. Nick Pancras only 3 seconds. That's not the gap to Alex, that is the gap to Kerem. If Nick Pancras can finish within 3 seconds of the leader, he will win this race as it stands. Assuming that I've calculated the time penalties correct, but I believe I've got it right at the moment. Nick Pancras may not realise it yet, but he's literally less than 2 tenths of a second from victory. Can he manage to get that gap below 3 seconds? Kerem literally dancing on a knife edge of all knife edges to try and keep Alex behind to win this race, but also keep that gap above 3 seconds. He doesn't have DRS, only Alex has the DRS, but Alex racing very hard. This battle between the two of them at the front could cost them both the race win. Alex, as it stands, will be relegated to 3rd if the time penalties are correct, unless he manages to overtake Kerem. 2 laps to go now. The gap still just over half a second. Nick Pancras now lost a bit of time in that final sector. Is he starting to struggle on those medium tyres? He's literally half a second away now from winning the race, but he's starting to fall behind the leaders. Nick Pancras, he's starting to struggle now as Alex Bumberg looks like he's about to try and make his move. The gap is less than 4 tenths. Could this be the moment? Could Alex Bumberg make the move into the lead of this race? He goes one way to try and cover him off, but he's not close enough. And I'm not sure if Alex used his DRS. It didn't look like he did. Perhaps Alex strategically decided to not use his DRS in order to try and not overtake Kerem, as he will be right ahead of him for the final lap. Very, very brave decision if that is the decision he's made, but it looks like that is the one he's going to have to go for the final lap of the race. It looks like right now Alex is much more comfortable on these tyres than Kerem is, but Kerem doing an excellent job taking this to the end. It's so close. One mistake could cost both of these guys the win. Nick Pancras still 3.5 seconds behind. He could still finish the race winner. He could still come second. We'll have to wait and see now, guys. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Kerem? Is it going to be Alex Bumberg? Or could Nick Pancras out of nowhere get this win? You can see the gap coming down to Kerem now. Nick Pancras starting to close in on the leaders again. Don't go anywhere as we're about to approach the final lap of the race. Kerem with the lead, half a second behind him is Alex Bumberg. Nick Pancras a further 3 seconds behind them. Can he get the gap down? We're on board with Alex Bumberg now as the final part of this race. He's going to have DRS through turn 5 and 6. He's now very close to what's the Kerem. Is he going to use DRS this time? He does. He has DRS engaged. He's closing right up to Kerem. Kerem using all of his battery, but alas, manages to hold on. Alex just cannot seem to be able to get past Kerem. Kerem managing his battery oh so well. He has literally nothing left to defend with. Alex has next to nothing to attack him with. There's only one more DRS zone, but that is at the start-finish straight. Alex is going to have to try and go for the hugest of runs, but surely now Kerem will have done enough to get the race win. But will Alex be able to hold on to second place? Alex desperately on the brakes to try and find a way through, but it looks like Kerem is going to have him covered off. But can Alex hold on to second? Remember, they both have an extra time penalty over Nick, and as it stands, Nick is literally a few tenths away from getting second place. Alex has to stay behind Kerem like that. Is Alex going to go for a lunge of all lunges through this area? He's too far away, and not only may he not win, he may not get second place as well. It's so close. It's going to be literally a photo finish after the time penalties have come into effect. But Kerem will come through the final corners to extend his lead of the championship to win the Singapore Grand Prix as Alex Bumberg comes in second place, and Nick Pancras will move into second place after the time penalties are in effect. Alex relegated to third after getting an extra time penalty for his troubles. Nick Pancras 3/10 away from the win. Xavi Mateos will come through to finish in 4th, or will he? He's slowed right to the line. 4th for him for Williams. TRT Kimi will come through as the fireworks serenade the night sky here at Singapore. TRT Kimi comes across the line as Wakanda Waring will finish in 6th, the AI. What a brilliant finish to an otherwise absolute crazy race. Gonna have to catch my breath after that one. Computer giving driver of the day to Kimi, but after that absolutely incredible race, it is all about the heroics of one man, and that is our championship leader Kerem, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship, with Alex Bumberg now moving ahead of Wakanda. Actually, the tied on points, I should say. So Kerem extending his lead even further, taking a selfie on the podium. Something you'd never thought you'd see in Formula 1, but we see it today. But it is Kerem who will celebrate the race win, with Nick Pancras taking a very good 2nd position and Alex Bumberg in 3rd position. So what a crazy race. Only 6 guys finishing the race, but it is Kerem getting the win for himself and for Racing Point. What an absolute crazy win that was for him. A huge moment in this championship, could prove that his championship lead is now all but insurmountable. And thank you very much for joining us in this absolute crazy race. I've been Adam Burns, your commentator for VRL F2 this evening. Make sure to check out the social media channels on Twitter, Instagram, and of course our website as well. The next race will be in Japan in a few weeks' time. Until then, tonight in Singapore under the fireworks, it is all about Kerem and the Racing Point. Is this the moment the championship swings towards Kerem, or will we see a late surge? Until then, take care, stay safe, and good night.